3 years. 3 long years without a single drop of rain. The land of Israel was cracking under a relentless sun, its people groaning under the weight of a severe drought. But this wasn't just a natural disaster, it was a spiritual one. The nation had turned its back on God, led by its own king Ahab, and his queen, Jezebel, who promoted the worship of a false god named Baal. In the midst of this crisis, one man stood alone against the tide, the prophet Elijah. He was a voice in the wilderness, a solitary figure of unwavering faith. The tension between Elijah and King Ahab was reaching its breaking point. Finally, the confrontation was set. A showdown, not just between two men, but between two gods. The location: the dramatic, windswept slopes of Mount Carmel. This is the story of one of the most epic events in history. A story of courage, faith, and the undeniable power of the one true God. We'll place a sacrifice on each, but we will not light any fire. The God who answers by fire, he is God. Baal had failed the test. His prophets collapsed in failure. The silence that fell over the mountain was deafening. Then, it was Elijah's turn. The entire crowd watched, holding their breath, as he calmly stepped forward. He didn't build a new, flashy altar. Instead, he began to repair the Lord's altar, which had been broken down. He gathered 12 stones, one for each of the 12 tribes of Israel, a powerful symbol of the nation's unified identity under God. He was not just building an altar, he was rebuilding a nation's foundation. With the altar restored, he carefully arranged the wood and the sacrifice. But then, he did something completely unexpected, something that seemed utterly counterintuitive. He ordered the people to bring water. Not just a little, but for large jars full. Pour it on the offering and on the wood, he commanded. They did. Do it a second time, he said. They poured more water. Do it a third time. Again, they drenched the altar. Water cascaded over the wood and the sacrifice, running down the sides and filling a trench Elijah had dug all around it. Now, the entire setup was completely waterlogged. He had made it humanly impossible for the wood to catch fire. There could be no tricks, no cheating. The crowd murmured amongst themselves. He was either a fool, or he was absolutely certain his God was real. There was no in between. Everything was now ready. The drenched altar stood as a testament to Elijah's audacious faith. As the sun began to set, casting long shadows across the mountain, a holy stillness settled over the crowd. Elijah stepped forward, raised his hands to the sky, and prayed. His prayer wasn't a frantic shout or a desperate chant. It was a simple, powerful, and direct conversation with God. "Lord, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Israel," he said, his voice ringing with clarity and conviction, "let A thunderous roar ripped through the sky. A pillar of fire, blindingly bright and unimaginably fierce, shot down from the heavens. It didn't just strike the altar, it annihilated it. The fire consumed the sacrifice, the water-soaked wood, the 12 massive stones, and even the very soil and the water in the trench. It was an explosion of divine power, a spectacle of holy might that left no room for doubt. The crowd screamed, not in terror, but in absolute awe. They threw themselves to the ground, their faces in the dust, and a single, unified cry rose from thousands of throats: "The Lord, He is God! The Lord, He is God!" In the blazing light of the heavenly fire, Elijah stood, a calm and victorious silhouette. The debate was over. God had answered. But the miracle wasn't finished. With the people's hearts turned back to God, Elijah knew the physical drought also had to end. He climbed to the very top of Mount Carmel, knelt down, and bowed his head in prayer. He sent his servant to look out toward the sea. "I see nothing," the servant reported. "Go and look again," Elijah insisted, remaining in his posture of prayer. 7 times the servant went to the horizon and returned with the same news: nothing. But on the 7th trip, he returned with a spark of excitement in his voice: "A cloud. I see a small cloud, about the size of a man's hand, rising from the sea." That was all it took. That tiny sign was the beginning of the answer. Soon, the wind began to rise. The sky, which had been mercilessly clear for 3.5 years, grew dark as massive clouds rolled in with the speed of chariots. A low rumble of thunder grew into a powerful roar. And then, rain. Not a drizzle, but a downpour. Heavy, powerful, life-giving rain. It hammered the dry, cracked earth, turning dust to mud. The people below, who had just witnessed fire from heaven, now shouted for joy as cool water poured down on them. The curse was broken. The land was being healed. From the mountaintop, Elijah watched the heavens open up, a quiet, triumphant servant who had trusted his God completely. This story isn't just about fire and rain. It's about the choice we all face. It's a powerful reminder that in a world of wavering opinions and competing voices, there is a God who is real, who answers, and who is more powerful than any challenge we can imagine. He is just waiting for us to turn our hearts back to Him. Thank you so much for watching. If this story impacted you, please like this video and subscribe to our channel for more content that explores these powerful truths. We'll see you in the next one.